Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Faculty Lounge today. We're glad you could stop by and join us. We are lucky enough to have Clint Stevens, uh, resident of Cedar City from the Southeastern Service Center, um, come and present to us today on pretty short notice, so we appreciate that, Clint. But he's a pro and an expert, so no problem for him. All right, so just a reminder, folks, we will record this. Actually, it's being recorded right now. So if you'd like to share it with other colleagues or just come watch it repeatedly because you love Clint, that link will be available on the Faculty Lounge website where you came to, to join us today. And if you got a question or a comment, you can enter it down there in the chat room. I know some of you may want to play Stump Clint, so ask him some hard questions down there. And with that, Clint,
Please do.
I think Clint's all ready to go. So I'm going to turn it right over to you, bud.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here with this group. It's a pretty small group, so please do feel free to ask questions. I posted a link to my website. I've got a pretty extensive post there on getting started with Google Classroom there. Don't use the big blue link. I posted in a bad link one there, so it's down there near the bottom of the chat window if you want to follow along. So I'm going to turn on my screen sharing so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And we'll start here. That URL will take you here to my website. And basically what we're doing today is a little screenshot. I've got a video of it here that's on YouTube. The presentation I'm going to start off with is there. And then any other additional information, hopefully you can see there. So what I want to do is start off with a little bit of information here. Let me present that. Is that coming through okay? Everyone see the permalink there again? Tim, you can see it? I'll assume unless I hear otherwise. Okay, all right.
Looks good. Looks good.
All right, perfect. So what is Classroom? I know Tim in the email kind of sent out a little brief explanation of it. It's kind of like a super light version of Canvas. If you're familiar at all what Canvas can do, Canvas is a learning management system. They're based here in Utah, the company called Instructure. And it's an amazing tool. I mean, it really is. It can do almost anything. And that is a blessing and a curse for teachers. It's a blessing because, man, whatever you need it to do, it can do, but trying to learn all the different things that it can do can be frustrating. So, I compare Classroom to a Volkswagen versus a Ferrari. That Volkswagen is, dependable and simple to use, and you don't probably not going to wrap yourself around a light post with a VW, but you might with a Ferrari. And another advantage to it is Canvas is $6 per year, and Classroom is free for any student, for any teacher, all the time. There are some things to know, or let's start here with what it focuses on. Classroom really has three focuses right now: creating and collecting assignments, especially if you're a district that has moved to Google Apps for Education, especially if you have high access to Chromebooks or any other, if you're getting one-to-one, however you're doing it. This Classroom really simplifies and streamlines using Google Docs and Google Drive with your students to make handing out assignments and collecting them and grading them and assessing them super simple. That's its biggest feature. It also will help class communications. If you're familiar with Edmodo, I think Google Classroom really has taken kind of that model and I won't say duplicated it, but repurposed it, kind of built it into Classroom so that you can have both public and private conversations with your students anytime, anywhere, online. And then also helps you stay organized. Again, with that Google Drive automation, it creates folders for you. It organizes assignments for you. It handles all the different sharing and permissions. It also organizes files and folders and things like that on the student side as well. It really just makes it all really easy to use. But there are a few gotchas right now. Classroom really has only been out for about maybe 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Um, and so we're still trying to figure out how to administer user accounts right now. Right now it's on the honor system, which means that both you and your students will go to classroom.google.com, go to that web address. And the first time in, you're asked to say what your role is. You have to say whether you're a teacher or whether you're a student, and it's on the honor roll that you pick the right thing. There is kind of a way to remove students who say they were teachers that first time in. Um, and really the only difference between a teacher account and a student account right now is that students cannot create their own classes. They can only join classes that have been set up. Um, but that's a lot of, once you create a class, you can create assignments and other things like that. So um, there will be some more functionality coming on the administration side here in a while. Right now, and this may be a big thing for some districts, teachers and students must both be on the same Google Apps for Education domain, basically, which means you must have the same email suffix on your account to be able to use Classroom with your students. Um, this may change in the coming months, but for right now, this is a limitation. And teachers kind of have to, depending on how their district has it all set up, they may have to use two different Gmail accounts, different school accounts in order to use Classroom with their students. And then I've got a link there. If you're new to Chromebooks or Drive, there's more, a lot of great things you can do with it outside of and to make that Google Classroom experience and the things that students are doing in there a rich experience and very creative as well. And I quickly made this little diagram here just to kind of explain the difference. Um, so if your district is set up with a Google Apps for Education cloud account or domain, if your students and your teachers are both, if you guys both have the same email address right now, you're both logging into the same cloud services, that's a good thing. You can use Google Classroom without any additional accounts. If your district is in the situation that some of mine are in, where the teachers have their own district.org account and students have a different student district account, you cannot cross those streams. You cannot invite students into your classes from here to participate. So you'd have to go to your district and ask them to create a student, student account for you in that student domain so that you can log in there, create your classes there, and to go forward. Are there any questions out there about that, Tim? Is that, have I driven this into the ground way too much? Just know that's a limitation and it may not work for some of you right now, but that's the workaround right now. So what can we do with Classroom? I'm going to just breeze through these real quickly, and then I'm going to show you, kind of do a little bit of hands-on with it so you can see how it works. Easy to create a class. In the past, when teachers have wanted to communicate with students through email, they've had to go in and harvest student email addresses, create different groups in Gmail in order to communicate with those kids. All you do is when you create a class, Classroom gives you a code that you share with your students. They add the code, which enrolls them in your class, gives them, puts them in your student list with email addresses and everything else. So that's all automatically generated for you. There's a main Classroom, what they call a conversation stream, where you can have open discussions with your students, post, bell ringers or, different discussion topics and have your students, reply to your posts or other students' discussions that way. You can create assignments using one or multiple uploaded files. So anything PDF, Office documents you already have. If you have anything in Drive, you can connect those two. And you can also attach YouTube videos or web links to any of those assignments. You can have as many of those attached to an assignment as you want. And then in each assignment, there's an open discussion about that assignment. And then once a student submits an assignment, they can send you a private note, or you can have a private discussion about individual student assignments within Classroom. You can grade assignments online. Again, it automatically creates all the stuff in Drive, organizes it for you. When you're done with your grades, you can download that as a spreadsheet. So lots of great features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of this presentation, and I'm logged in as two different accounts. So Again, I go to classroom.google.com as a teacher, log in with my uh, Gmail account. And again, that's got to be a student account if you have separate domains for your district. So I'm here as a teacher here, and then in this other screen, I'm logged in as a different account under my same domain, trainer, and I'm already in one of my own classes. So I'm going to switch back and forth between these two different views so that you can see what it looks like from the students and the teacher side. So switching back to teacher side, uh, first time in, I need to say whether I'm a teacher or a student, but then I can either create my own class or join an existing class. And here's how tough it is to make a class. So I'll call this one Faculty Lounge Demo. I can give it a period number if I want to, period 3. That's optional, you don't have to have that there. But that name will go at the end of the folders for that class in Drive. So I click Create, it takes it a minute or two, maybe not that long, but a few seconds to create that class for me. I now have a Faculty Lounge demo class, and I can, now here's my classroom stream. Here's where I can post announcements or post assignments for the class. And then here's that class code for me to join the class. 3 main areas or tabs in Classroom. The stream is where most of the work's going to happen. You have an About tab where you can add a longer title for the class, give a class description, the meeting room. But then for every teacher or for the students, here's the teacher's email address. And then here's the Drive folder that it's created for me automatically. So if I click on that folder, it will open up Drive for me and show me the contents there. And so what's happened is that Google, the first time in, has created a classroom folder in my Drive for me as a teacher. And then every class I create gets its own folder. And then within each folder, as soon as I create an assignment, I'll get a folder for each assignment, and then student submissions will be organized in that folder. So all this stuff is being done automatically for you. It's amazing. So here we are. There's my, I can also add materials. Again, upload any documents I may already have, attach anything I have from Drive, a YouTube video, or links. And these are things about your class that won't change. The stream always has, it's kind of like a blog, the newest stuff is posted at the top, and that's where all the assignments go. This would be a great place for your syllabus or your class expectations or class rules or anything like that you'd want to put there. Okay. I also have a students tab. Now, here's where, oh, this is new. Students can post and comment. Students can only comment. Well, that's a brand new feature. See, Google is great. They're always updating things and adding new features all the time. This is a big complaint about some teachers that students could post into the stream and it could get a little crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code, and all I do is, as in my own classroom, I would have my kids log into classroom.google.com, click the plus on the top right, and then enter that class code, and then they would be enrolled in my class. So let's see what happens on the student side. So here I am as a student. I click on the plus, and most students aren't going to have this create class option, but I click join class, put that code in there, and click join. And now in this account, in the background, it's creating that classroom folder, creating a folder inside of that for this Faculty Lounge demo class. There's my class. And if I click on that, it says no assignments coming up. There's no posts yet. But on the teacher side, look what happens. There's Clint Stevens enrolled in my class. If I want to send him an email, I click on that link. If I want to send my entire class a message, I can email them or mute or whoever's selected there. So it automatically collects all those email addresses for me, so it makes that communication much easier. All right, so now I'm back in my classroom stream as a teacher, and I'm going to make a post, or I'm going to make an assignment here. Give it a name, call it Summer Fun. I know we're getting farther and farther away from summer, but I've given this demo a couple of times, so just work with me, folks. I appreciate it. With an image, describe or show me the best thing you did this summer. Okay, I can put, that could be the whole assignment, or again, I can upload any document, attach any Drive files, YouTube videos, links, and then post it to one or many different classes that I have set up. It gives me a due date. I can also add a due time. Unlike what you can do with Canvas, this just, when the student submits their assignment, it says whether it was turned in on time or turned in late. It doesn't close submissions. Kids can turn in stuff anytime. It just marks when they did that or not. All right, so I'm going to attach something from Drive. I have a document in here called Summer Fun. So I'm going to do that. Let's see, I'll choose this one instead. All right, and so for each document that I've got here, I can let students view the file, which would be like a virtual copy machine. Just make all those duplicates, and you don't have to make any copies or kill any trees when you make an assignment that way. I can let students edit the file, which means that this would be a collaborative document, where a great thing for presentations, where students can just log in and work on one document simultaneously. But this is the one that's really cool. Make a copy for each student, which means that it's going to take the name of the assignment. I don't mean to have my name on the end of it, but that works. So create a new assignment for that, or a new document for that kid. Call it this, put a hyphen at the end of it, and put their name at the end of it, so it automatically names it. Saves it in their Drive folder, and also shares it with me as an editor, as a teacher, so I have access to it. Does all that automatically when I click assign. Again, this will take a second, and so I will assign that to my class. And then once it's assigned, it'll give me a counter that live updates. It says how many kids in my class total, who have not turned it in, and who have turned it in. If you've got a class with a larger student enrollment, so you can see that on this assignment here, 34 students don't have it done, 1 does have it done. And this is a little menu here within Drive to switch between my different classes. Okay, so that's on the teacher side. And now I've made my assignment, waiting for my students to turn things in. So on the student side now, it says here, one new item has been posted to the stream. If I click on that or just reload the page, it'll say, hey, you've got an assignment. It's due tomorrow. Let's open that assignment. And now it switched me over to the details of or my assignment submission for this posting for my teacher. And right now it's doing all that background work. It's creating that document, putting my name at the end of it, and then saving it for me and giving me edit rights. Yeah, that's true. It is taking longer than usual. Let me go back. Click on Summer Fun. Let's see what happens. Google's being slow. So maybe I'll go back to a different class here and maybe do an assignment a different way. Okay, so easy quiz. I'm going to open this assignment. I'm going to turn this one in late. I'll be in trouble. And hopefully I haven't crashed Classroom right now. There we go. Okay, got it. I can mark it as done. So for a student, if I didn't attach a document as a teacher, students can add their own Drive files, links, or uploaded files, or they can create a document or whatever straight from Drive. So they don't have to go into Drive first and then save it in the right folder and make sure that's all done. So my assignment was to make show in a picture what I did for fun this summer. So I said, create me a document, and now it's going to create a document for me with Easy Quiz as the name, and then a dash, and then my name at the end of it. There it is, Easy Quiz from Clint Stevens. Click that, and that will open my assignment in a new window. And now I can insert an image or do my write my master thesis or do my presentation or whatever I was asked to do. And so for fun this summer, the best thing I did was to lounge around by the pool. And so I insert that image and tell my teacher can't spell, around by a pool this summer. Okay, So now you'll notice that in addition to the normal share button, and the way you've done Google Docs with your students in the past is had them share it, and it generates lots of emails, and it's an unorganized drive for you. Now that you're using Classroom, there's a turn in button. So I click turn in when I'm done with the assignment. And it is like actually turning the paper into your teacher. What Google does, once I click turn in, it will give me a little message here that says I can no longer edit that. So students can add a private note. And you can have this, this is where you have that private conversation about a student's assignment. And so now once that's turned in, Google transfers ownership to the teacher. I only have viewing rights to that document now. If I go back to it and refresh it, you'll see that I can now only view. I can see what the teacher has added with comments or any additions to the document, but while it's turned in, I cannot change it anymore. If I want to unsubmit it and bring it back out, make some changes, I can resubmit it, but each time a kid submits it and unsubmits it, Google keeps track on the teacher side. So let's switch over back to this different class here, because that's where we're going. See, I've got 2 students done now. Click on done, it'll show me the students who are done. It kind of filters it out. So there's Clint Stevens, there's my post. It says that I was done late. If I want to see when else it was submitted, that's there as well. Now as a teacher, I click on the document. It opens it up in a new window or a new tab. And then I can insert a comment. Great job. Sounds fun. Whatever you want to post to the student. You can also put their score in there, 100 points. And comment. Students are sent an email that says you have inserted a comment on their document so they can see what you've done. As a teacher, I just close that window, come here and say the grade for Clint is 100. I can change the value of the assignment, or I can put a custom amount in there as well. And then you can see it checks this box and this return button lights up. So what that does is so the assignment's turned in to me, the kid can't edit it anymore. But now when I return it to the student, I can give feedback to Clint or however many students I'm turning this back to. And I can say, excellent work, and return that assignment. Once all of the assignments have been graded, I can download an Excel file that has all the scores there to make it easier to key that into SIS or PowerSchool. Right now, there's not going to, and there won't be probably for a while, any syncing or back and forth between those systems. It may come for Power. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But anyway, on the teacher side, go through and grade and return all those assignments. Now back on the student side, there's the feedback from my teacher. I can resubmit it if I need to change it. If I come back to my document, now if I reload the page, I've got editing rights again as a student. There's my comment. And it's just it's really easy. If I go back to my, back here to my classroom stream, I'm ready for the next assignment. I can reply to any different posts that have been made. Pretty simple. So that's just a real quick breeze through overview of Google Classroom. Are there any questions from anybody else? I'm going to turn my screen sharing back off and see if there are any comments or any questions that need to be answered. Yep. Chris says, yeah, the sharing is super easy. They don't have to worry about where it is and what folder it is or where they create the document. If it's all assigned and shared and submitted through Classroom, it's all handled automatically. Can't view each other's work. Yep, that's a good thing. Let's see if a class can be renamed. Yep, you can. There is a little menu. It's kind of hard to find where you can make any changes. In Classroom, it'll be a button that looks like 3 little dots. Let me share my screen, turn that back on real quick so I can show you that. If I want to edit an assignment or anything about the class, there's these 3 little dots right here edit that assignment or delete it. So if you made the wrong date, you want to attach another link or something else like that, you don't have to delete the assignment or just keep making new assignments. You can edit that there as well. Um, you can edit the classes, the settings, the names, the things like that from the home page, finding those three little dots, rename and delete for each course or class there. And then once you're in a class, you can change the class theme right here to any of these pre-built. Um, you can't upload your own images yet, but there's some pretty funky ones there that you can choose from. So I'll turn my sharing back off. See if there's other questions. And mark it done. Yep. Yeah, and the best thing about this is the price. You know, it's free. If you have a Google Apps for Education domain set up, it's a great place to start. If you find yourself needing more features that Canvas has, like SpeedGrader and the integration with PowerSchool and stuff like that, you can take this to your administration or your district and say, Evan, and say, here's what I've been doing in classroom. I need to be able to do this, 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 and this. So can you sign me up for Canvas? We're not saying this is a replacement for Canvas, but it is certainly a great tool if you have access to a Google Apps for Education domain and have pretty good access for your students. It's a great way to go. Let's see. Teresa says you mentioned that it is on the honor system right now. Do you have the idea of what might be coming in management? Teresa, right now what it does is when you click on teachers, it adds you to a Google group for that domain. And you can go in as an administrator and remove people from that Google group, but there's no way to go in and say, you know, I think actually if you want to go in and add teachers to that group manually, they won't have to check that box at the beginning. But if a kid goes to that screen, that classroom.google.com the first time and says there's a teacher, they will be able to create classes and do all that kind of stuff until you figure out that their account shouldn't be doing that. So really right now there's no way to exclude students from doing that. And I think that'll be a fix that's coming within no more than a month or two. That's right. My trainer account, that account I went in as a teacher the first time as well, and so that's why I had the option to create a class where a student would not. That's right. Let's see. Yes, students can be in. Teachers can make as many classes as they want. Students can join as many classes as they need to. So you could make, you know, a general class for, you know, for each class that you have. If you want to group your students, you could create different classes as your subgroupings and only invite kids or give the codes to the kids you want to join that group. You can also invite students with email addresses if you've already got them, and that way you can just drop them into the classes without their interaction. So, Cynthia, did that answer your question? I need to make this chat window bigger so I can see what's going on. Okay. Any other classes? Been doing this in Google, but not Classroom. B. Sanders. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I used to just do like an hour-long training on just how to set up Google Drive with shared folders and things like that. But it is a lot of work on both the teacher and the student. So Classroom really makes this whole thing a lot easier. Okay. Rename. Work is done. Okay. Okay, here we go. So Cynthia says, so how do they know which class they are in? My student automatically show up in my class, but what if they're in another teacher's class? It says the name of the class at the top of the screen. Let me turn my sharing back on. Okay, so the question is, how do the students know what class they're in? So as a student, up here at the top, it says classroom demo, the name of the class right there, and which one I'm in. This menu at the top left displays all of the different classes that I'm enrolled in as a student. So here's my faculty lounge demo class, and then the one that I'm currently in. If I click on faculty lounge, the name changes at the top, the period that's there, and then the classroom stream and the assignments for that class is displayed. So front and center right at the very top of the screen is how they know what class they're in. Okay, let's see. I'm using third grade. Cool. I'm glad you're using a third grade. That low. That's excellent. Cool. Forgot about the home button. Good enough. Any other questions out there about Classroom? Looks like Teresa's typing something. We'll give her a minute to put that in. Thanks, Teresa. I appreciate that. It really is a cool tool. And I mean, my region is lucky that we've been kind of moving in this Google direction for a long time. It's been one of the better decisions we've made. We did it at first because we were spending our networking guy was spending hours and hours a day trying to filter spam emails with our old system. We were getting 250,000 a day. With we had about 10 user accounts, so it really wasn't worth the effort. So the switch to Gmail, and then along came all the calendars and Google Sites, and then Google Drive, and then this classroom feature. They're just building and building great tools for schools. Um, we've been lucky to be on the journey with them. So that's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
Well, Clint, thank you so much. We definitely asked the right person to give us a quick overview of Google Drive. Yeah, I mean, Google Classroom, super good tool. I've got a kid whose teacher uses Google Drive, and he needs to switch to Classroom because it is a big struggle and a lot of work, I know. So we really appreciate it, and it's a great
Absolutely.
new tool. All right, everyone, we're going to wrap up for today. Just a reminder, next week we've got Rob Bentley, or I should say Senior Bentley, from our office, and he is going to talk about Preschool Pioneer in Spanish and the Spanish resources that are now in that area. So if you know anyone that might be appropriate for, feel free to pass it on to them. Thanks again, everyone, and especially thanks to Clint. See you guys next week.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.